A tough act to follow. And Stacy, thank you and Barry for hosting this, and Chris and Saul for hosting this wonderful event. Unlike Stacy, I can't speak partially from notes. And
They can't hear you.
Oh.
We need to turn the mic up a little bit.
Okay.
That's great. That's great.
Good. Okay. I was going to say thank you very, very much to Stacy and Saul and to Barry and Chris for hosting this wonderful event. Unlike Stacy, I'm not going to be able to speak from either memory or notes. I like to defend myself by saying that I'm a writer, not an orator. But I have some thoughts I'd like to share with you. It's ironic, isn't it, that tonight is all about Judy. Because with Judy, it was never all about Judy. It was about her, it was always about others. It was about her children, about her grandchildren, about her larger family. It was about her friends, and it was about many others as well. Basically, it was about relationships. Two snapshots. One 3 years ago in our home after Judy's surgery. The other in the hospital for the very last time. Both times, Judy is lying almost prone. First on our sofa, more recently in the hospital bed. Each time a visitor, two very different but very close friends, is sitting in a chair beside Judy, and they're engaged in deep and thoughtful conversation. The scene is almost like a cartoon that's familiar to you. You know, the therapist sitting in the upright chair, and the patient in the chaise lounge. But there's something wrong with this picture in each of these cases. As I caught fragments of each conversation, Judy was the therapist most of the time, asking questions about what was happening in her friend's life and listening carefully, always listening. Stacy, you talked about her ability to listen. Incredible. And her friend each time was the patient benefiting from Judy's caring and counsel. Fast forward now to late October. Judy's home now in hospice care for what we thought was likely to be a week or so, but what turned out to be 17 days. Judy is definitely failing now. And our housekeeper comes into the bedroom for a few minutes while Judy shuffles slowly down the hall. I happen to drop by, and there, standing at the end of the hall, is the housekeeper. And Judy is leaning against the wall. And Judy's asking the housekeeper how her relatives are doing in Mexico and how her children are doing in school in Santa Fe. It was never all about Judy. After the funeral service for close family members, we repaired to Judy's favorite Santa Fe restaurant, The Shed. Some of us offered brief remarks, and I recounted these vignettes, and I said I thought that I was the newsman in the family, experienced in asking incisive questions, hopefully, and in eliciting important information. But Judy always got more information about people in 10 minutes than I did in an hour. And by the way, Barry and Chris, it really gave me great satisfaction a couple of weeks later when our oldest grandchild, their 8-year-old Katie, repeated my story unprompted, almost word for word. Like her Grammy, Katie really is a great listener. Not that Judy didn't have her moments of, let's say, saucy impertinence. Why is that bringing such a big laugh? She once told me of an encounter with an officer of the law 2 or 3 decades ago, and I really love telling this story. It seems that an Albuquerque police officer stopped her for exceeding the speed limit. he had her roll down the window and he asked gruffly, "Where's the fire, lady?" She looked him straight in the eye and she said, "What's it to you?" Beth, I'm sorry, I hope you didn't hear that. And I hope there are no, late repercussions here. There's another story I like to tell, and Beth Moise is with us tonight, and Beth was privileged to, if I may say that, to play the last round of golf that Judy played with her and with one other friend up at Las Campanas. And I like to tell this story too because I asked her when they finished the round, I said, "How'd it go today?" And she said, "I shot a 97. And I said, "That's the best round you've ever shot in your life." She had previously broken 100 a couple of times, and she shot 98. And I said, "Well, that's fantastic." And she said, "And the best thing about it is I didn't even cheat." Very much. She didn't take golf terribly seriously. Okay, so she wasn't perfect. But sometimes I thought that if I wrote her biography, I would entitle it Almost a Saint. Judy exuded faith. She developed a refined sense of spirituality that manifested itself in her everyday actions. Many of you have read the prayer, "Come Holy Spirit," which she read as part of her morning devotions nearly every day of our life together. It's been heartwarming that several of you have told me that you too are reading it often now and that you're calling it Judy's Prayer. As some of you know, a month after Judy left us on November 1st, which, by the way, appropriately was, as Anna Drew has pointed out and others as well, is All Saints' Day. I left Maui to spend a couple of weeks in French Polynesia on what I call RRNR, which is rest, relaxation, and reflection. And while I was on Moorea, the stunningly scenic island on which James Michener wrote his first book, I was reading that book, Tales of the South Pacific. And in those pages, Michener introduces one of the most magical places in all of English literature, the Camelot of the Pacific, if you will. He writes, "Valley High was an island of the sea, a jewel of the vast ocean. Like a jewel, it could be perceived in one loving glance. It was green like something ever youthful, and it seemed to curve itself like a woman into the rough shadows formed by the greater island nearby. Like most lovely things, one had to seek it out, and even to know what one was seeking before it could be found." Judy was my Valley High. We were together for just 11 years, where we met when she was 57 and I was 65. But they were 11 wonder-filled years. Yes, we regretted that we hadn't met earlier, much earlier. But as Michener says about Valley High, one had to seek it out and even to know what one was seeking before it could be found. We both appreciated that the years before we met had helped us to know what we were seeking, and we most certainly rejoiced in what we found. Judy was my Valley High, and perhaps yours as well. She was hauntingly beautiful, magically enchanting, all-embracing. She was truly an exceptional jewel in a vast ocean, the fulfillment of my dreams.